So, as we are getting ready to premiere our new show, we recorded another episode today. I am the sole Christian in the group, and I am also a huge biblical nerd. Today, we happen to come across the Hebrew literary devices, and this is in episode 4. My channel is my channel. It is predominantly about the worldwide Church of God as well as biblical weaponization. But I also wanted to share some of the stuff I'm interested in, and when we were talking about Hebrew literary devices, I went on a huge rampage. So I'm going to scatter some really cool things here and there to talk about why I love the Bible so much. Hey, even if you don't believe it, appreciate it like Homer or something like that. The one thing I really do want to talk about is something called parallelism. The Bible is full of parallelism. The Bible has 5 distinct forms of parallelism, and I'm going to do a video on all 5. And maybe some more. I'm a nerd, you gotta give me that! Parallelism, Part 1. The first form of parallelism is known as synonymous, like a synonym. The concept of synonymous parallelism is you have a phrase that says something, and then the second phrase amplifies it. And then the third phrase amplifies that. And then the fourth, and then the whole chapter. Synonymous parallelism is distinguished with the order of the things being compared being the same. It goes in a synonymous order. Psalm 18 is a perfect example. The ropes of death entangle, the floods of destruction sweep, the grave wraps, death lays. Me, my path. That is simple synonymous parallelism. But there's also the type that spans entire chapters and books of the Bible, like the entire book of Judges, the Garden of Eden and Mount Sinai, everywhere. Parallelism, Part 2. Like I said before, Psalm 18 is packed with synonymous parallelism. Like verse 8, smoke poured from his nostrils, flames leaped from his mouth, coals blazed forth. Mounted he flew, soaring on the wings of the wind. He shrouded himself in darkness, veiling his approach with dark rain clouds. The second form is called chiastic or chiastic parallelism, where the order is flipped, not the same. Here's a good example from Proverbs. So you have a mocker that is contrasted with those with understanding, and then never finds wisdom contrasted with knowledge coming easily. It's kind of like A, B, B, A. And this even branches out to entire stories, like the story of Noah and the Ark. And these forms of parallelism do play with each other. You'll find all 5 forms right next to each other. And once you start to dig, you see how deep it goes. It is a treasure trove of coolness. Parallelism, Part 3. So we got synonymous, and then we have chiastic. Next is antithetic. Think about the word antithesis. Positive, positive, negative, negative. Yin, yin, yang, yang. An honest witness does not lie, a false witness breathes lies. The godly eat to their heart's content, but the belly of the wicked goes hungry. The Proverbs are packed with antithetic parallelism, but it is also elsewhere. And there are combinations of all 3. So this one that I brought up as chiastic is also antithetic. And this one's cool. Though your sins are like scarlet, I will make them white as snow. So that's antithetic, but then it's synonymous with the next phrase. Though they are red like crimson, I will make them white as wool. Introducing the 4th type. Staircase parallelism. This one in particular starts with synonymous parallelism, but then there's an extra kick at the end. Statement, statement, kick. Parallelism, Part 4. I left off on this example of staircase parallelism. Staircase parallelism is more flexible. So here in this example, you have a statement, a parallel statement, and then the next phrase will basically add more information. That's not the only type though. Here we have 2 forms of staircase parallelism. This verse here is just like the one we saw. He sank. He fell. That's parallel. He lay still at her feet. Added statement. And where he sank, there he died. Another form is you have the same statement at the beginning with extra information at the end. So, from the window, Sisera's mother looked out. From the window, she watched for his return. So the next step enhances the imagery. And those are the 4 basic forms of parallelism. But there's one more. It's my favorite. Parallelism, Part 5. So I did this thing in the last video.
The fifth form of parallelism is Janus parallelism, named after the god that could see forward and backward.
But the best part about it, it's basically impossible to translate.
Take a look at Song of Songs 2:12. It looks just like any other parallel statement, right? But there's usually an asterisk there in Bibles, and it will say, or the season of pruning vines. So the season of singing or pruning vines, because in Hebrew it looks the same. So the flowers spring up, or the season of pruning has come because of the flowers, or it's singing because of the singing of the birds. So you have a phrase with a central pivot word. Parallelism is present in every single book of the Bible. So let's see it in action.
Parallelism, Part 6. Let's take a look at one chapter of the Bible, Psalm 75. Starts off strong with Janus. You can't see it, but where it says people everywhere tell of your wonderful deeds can also be your wonderful deeds declare themselves, going both ways. Then you got synonymous parallelism. At the time I've planned, I'll bring justice. When the earth quakes, I'm the one who keeps the foundations firm. Next, you have synonymous staircase. So, I warned the proud, stop your boasting. I told the wicked, don't raise your fists. The extra kick is, don't raise your fists in defiance of the heavens or speak with such arrogance. Which is more synonymous parallelism with fists and speech. Synonymous in verse 7, then antithetic in verse 8. Draining it to the dregs is the staircase kick. Synonymous in verse 9. And it closes in antithetic. And the whole chapter begins and ends the same. It's chiastic.